Hello and welcome to SoapUI tutorial. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn about script assertion in SoapUI. So in the previous tutorial, we have seen how you can transfer the custom properties defined at project, test suite or test case level to the JSON request or the JSON body of create a project. Okay, so if you open create a project, now we have passed the notes and name from the custom properties defined at the test suite level end-to-end test case demo, right? So these are the values that are being passed through transfer workspace and team GID. So we have defined two new transfers and we have utilized these transfers to transfer these properties. If you want to see the details how they have been done, please watch the previous tutorial. So now in this tutorial, what we'll do is we'll start the verification. Okay, so till now we have just seen end-to-end stitching of the test cases and then doing the property transfer and then reading the custom properties and passing it to the JSON requests. But we haven't done any assertions as of now yet, right? So we'll do a script assertion in this particular tutorial and we'll learn how you can perform script assertion. So in this particular create project, right, so once the project has been created, we need to verify in the response that the project name is the name that we provided from the custom property. Okay, so this is the response that we are getting as part of the project creation. And in this particular response, we want to verify that the name of the project that you see here is basically the same name that we are passing through the custom property in the test suite. Okay, so this name should match to the name in the response. Now we can do it in multiple ways. So either you can create a test step Groovy separately, or in the script assertion, what you can do is you can simply open this particular request. So create a project, right? And here, as you can see, there are no assertions as of now. So you just open the assertions window. I'll expand it a little bit, okay, and click on the plus sign to add an assertion. Go to script assertion and click on script assertion and click on add. Okay, so now what this script assertion is all about is it's basically you are just defining the Groovy code here in this script, but this script is part of this create project step itself. It is not a separate context. The context of this script is basically this particular REST request itself. Now, if you're defining a Groovy script step separately, the context you have to traverse to the context of this particular request in order to verify. So that's a separate way to do it. But if you're doing a script assertion, it's pretty easy if you define it at that particular step level, which is create a project. That's what we are trying to do. Now, in this particular script assertion, we will be verifying for the name. Okay, so we'll assert that the name that we are passing through the custom properties is equal to the name that is coming in the SoapUI response or the create project response. Okay, now because this is a REST request and we are getting the response in the form of JSON. Okay, so we have seen in the SOAP tutorial that in the SOAP web service that the response was coming as an XML. But in the case of REST, it can be either XML or it can be JSON. So there are both possibilities. So you can verify. So in order to verify JSON responses, there is a bit different class that you need to import and a little bit different scripting. Okay, so for JSON verification, you need a class known as JSON slurper. As in XML or in XML responses, we used to have the class XML holder that we have seen already in the previous tutorial. In JSON, we need JSON slurper. Okay, so first thing we need to do is basically as part of this request is to grab the response. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just mention what we are going to verify. So we'll verify the name of project matches to the name defined in custom properties. Okay, so that's what we are going to verify. All right, I'll just change the line. Okay, so verify the name of the project matches to the name defined in custom properties, and copy and paste the whole thing there. Okay, okay, so now that's what we are going to verify. And to do this verification, what class we need? We need JSON slurper. In the case of XML, we used XML holder class. Okay, now because this response is coming in form of JSON, so we'll use JSON slurper class. And what class we need to import? So we'll just say import groovy dot json dot json slurper. Now the next step is to hold the response content. Okay, now to hold the response content of JSON request, you need to define a variable. Okay, so I'll define a variable and I'll say project response. I'll give it a name, and then you just say message exchange. Okay, if you see here, this script assertion is invoked with log, context and message exchange variables. Okay, so message exchange variable is what we'll use. As you have seen in the XML case, we used to have the test runner variable, but in the case of script assertion, you have the message exchange variable to read the response of the request. Okay, which will be in the form of JSON or XML. So message exchange, we'll use message exchange dot response. Okay, and then response content. That's it. Right, let me expand this window here. So what this will do is this message exchange will variable will read the response and the response content and store it into the variable project response that we have defined. So basically the response that we are getting as part of this JSON request, right, or create project request will be, let me close this. Sorry, it's, yeah, so the response here will be stored in this project response variable. Now, once we have this response, we need to read this response, traverse this response and go to the particular node of that response and get the value of that node. Only then we'll be able to verify it with the value that we have stored in the custom properties, right? So the first thing is we have defined or imported the JSON slurper class. Okay, then we have used message exchange to get the whole response content, and now we'll use the JSON slurper to parse this whole response, JSON response, and get the node value. Okay, so JSON slurper will be able to parse the JSON response as we used to do it in the XML holder class. Let me change that to XML holder. So the next step will be to define another variable. So I'll define another variable and I'll say JSON reader. Okay, and now because we have the response content already, now we have to traverse, or we have to get the value of the node. So to do that, what we'll do is we'll create a new object of JSON slurper. Okay, so we'll say JSON slurper. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll do parse text. And in parse text, what you need to pass is the argument project response. Okay, so I'll pass this argument here. So now what this line is doing is, so JSON reader is the variable which for which I've defined new object for JSON slurper, and parsing the whole response that was stored in the variable project response. So I'm passing the project response as argument to parse text. Now JSON reader contains or we can use this variable JSON reader to read the content of this particular response or JSON response. Now what we'll do is we'll copy this JSON response. Let me hit OK and copy the response. So I've copied the response. Let's go to the Google. I'll search for JSON formatter. Okay, so there will be many free formatter available. I'll just pick jsonformatter.org. Okay, and I'll paste the response that I copied, and let's format it in the tree form. Okay, oops, format beautify, and then I'll change it to tree format. Okay, so the reason I'm doing it, it will become a lot more easier to understand the JSON format this way. Now as you can see clearly here that there is a dictionary data which contains 20 entries in it. Okay, so these are all entries, and there is another entry owner which contains 3 entries, another dictionary owner, another dictionary workspace team. So these are all with curly braces are all dictionaries, and then we have the array as well. Okay, so array members which contains just one value, and then array containing another one item followers which has one item. Now once you have this format, it becomes pretty easy to traverse to the nodes that we are looking for. Okay, so this is the parent node data, and then these are the child nodes. Okay, and then owner is also child node, but it has another 3 child nodes below it. Okay, so how you can traverse to these nodes in order to verify, that's what we are going to understand. So let's go to SoapUI again, and in the script assertions, now we have this JSON reader variable. Okay, so JSON reader and then dot. So let's go to this. So this is the root node, so we'll go to the root node first. So we'll say dot data. Okay, so dot data, and then if you are looking for the name, okay, so name is the direct child of data. Okay, so there is no child below the name. Okay, so we can just say dot data dot name, and that should be able to give us the name of the project. Okay, so that's what we are looking for verification. Okay, so if we are looking to get the value which is below workspace, for example resource type or name here, then the path would be JSON reader dot data, and then we will go to the workspace, so dot data and then workspace. So instead of name we'll say workspace, and then below workspace we'll just say name, and that will give us the name rcbacademy.com. Okay, because this name is the child of workspace and workspace is child of data. Okay, so that's how you traverse to the nodes using the JSON reader or JSON slurper class. So let's run this and see, or I'll just use log.info and print these values. Okay, so that we can see that these values are getting printed. So let's run this script and see the response. So I'll quickly run the script, and you can see RCB Academy demo project 1 and rcbacademy.com have got printed, and the information script assertion passed. Okay, because that's what we haven't that's the information we are looking in this particular script at this particular time. Now we have got the details that we are looking for. So we have got the name. I'll remove this log.info. Now the next step is to actually verify. So we have got the the message response, and we have read the response content through JSON Slurper class, and then we have also traversed to the node that we are looking for. Now the next step is to verify it with the custom properties that we have defined in our test case. Okay, so how we are going to do is, let's define the custom property. Okay, so we'll define a variable wherein we'll store the value that we have defined in the custom property. So we'll say expected value as the variable, and then what we'll do is, you can see here that we have a context variable. Okay, now this script context is basically this particular step. So in order to traverse to the test suite level, what we have to do is we can use context. When we say context dot, then this means that this particular step. But if we want to go to the test case and test suite level, what we need to do is we'll say context dot get test case, and then dot get test suite. All right, and then get property value, and then we have to define what property value we are looking for. Okay, so the property value that we have defined in the custom property is name, and that's it, right? So why we have to do this? So context get test case is basically we are going to the test case level. Okay, and then this is the level test case, and then we are going to the test suite level because we have defined our custom property at the test suite level, and that's where we are getting the property value, and then we are getting the property value with the name that we have defined. If we hit OK and we go to the custom property, that's the name that we are looking for, okay, which is at the test suite level. I'll open the script assertion again, and we'll verify that we are actually getting this particular value. So I will just print expected value as well and run the script and verify. So now you can see RCB Academy demo project has been printed, and the next value that is being printed is basically the value that is coming from the response. Okay, now it is pretty simple to verify. Now we'll use assert, and then we'll say expected value is equal to, we'll just copy and paste this whole thing, JSON reader.data.name. Okay, or we can also define a variable actual value. We can say actual value and store this response into the actual value, and remove these two lines because these are just the printing. Okay, so expected value we are getting from the test suite level that we have defined in the name. Okay, and actual value we are getting through the JSON Slurper class in the JSON response, and we are traversing to the node name and getting that value. And now we are verifying, or we are asserting, that the expected value is equal to actual value. Now if the expected value won't be equal to actual value, this script will pass. Let me will fail. Okay, so let's run this script, and you can see script assertion passed message appeared. That means the value that is coming in the name node of the response, JSON response, is equal to the value that we are getting through the value defined in the test suite. So that's pretty much it. Now let's close all these requests and run this end-to-end test case and verify that the script assertion passes. So I'll run the whole test suite. It's running, creating a project, and then you can see that it's all green. That means the test has passed. If you go to test suite log, you can see that step 6 has turned to green. That means the assertion has passed. Now, if we change this value to something else, okay, and then just open the script assertion just to verify that the script assertion is passing or failing. We'll open this and run this. It should fail now because we have the expected value is something else and the actual value in the response is something else, right? So you can say error occurred, assert expected value is RCV Academy demo project 1 and the actual value is this, right? So that has failed because actual and expected are not matching. So that means the script assertion is passing. So this is a pretty simple script. If you see the verification or usage of the JSON slurper class, just import JSON slurper, read the content using message exchange, and then store it in a variable, then use the JSON slurper to read the or traverse the JSON and then traverse to the node, get that value, store it in the into the variable, get a value that is defined into the property, and then assert or verify these values. So that's pretty much all about the script assertion in SoapUI. Hope you like the tutorial. Please do share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.